Come on. I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is life worth living? Should I blast myself? I'm tired of being poor and even worse, I'm black. My stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a purse to snatch. Cops give a damn about a Negro. Pull a trigger, killing, he's a hero. Get it to the kids who the hell cares. One less hungry mouth on the welfare. First ship them, don't let them deal with brothers. Give them guns, step back, watch them kill each other. It's time to fight back, that's what Huey said. 2 shots in the dark, now Huey's dead. I got love for my brothers, but we can never go nowhere unless we share with each other. We gotta start making changes. Learn to see me as a brother instead of 2 distant strangers. And that's how it's supposed to be. How can the devil take a brother if he's close to me? I let it go back to when we played as kids, but then changed. That's the way it is. Come on.
That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is. Oh yeah.
I want to be, only way I've been practicing my whole life to live my life is to be responsible for what I do. I don't know how to be responsible for what every black male did. I don't know. Yes, I am going to say that I'm a thug. That's because I came from the gutter and I'm still here.
I see no changes, all I see is racist faces. Misplaced hate makes disgrace to races. We under, I wonder what it takes to make this one better place. Let's erase the wasted. Take the evil out the people, they'll be acting right. Cause both black and white and smoke tonight. And the only time we chill is when we kill each other. It takes skill to be real time to heal each other. And although it seems evident, we ain't ready to see a black president. It ain't a secret of concealed, the fact. The penitentiary's packed and it's filled with blacks. But some things will never change. Try to show another way, but you're staying in the dope game. Now tell me what's a mother to do. Being real don't appeal to the brother in you. You gotta operate the easy way.
I made a G today,
but you made it in a sleazy way. Sell it back to the kid.
I gotta get paid.
Well, hey, well that's the way it is. Come on.
That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is. Oh yeah.
Hear me.
That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the way it is. Oh yeah.
You gotta make a change.
Rap star and actor Tupac
Shakur was riding in his black. The 25-year-old rapper had long been criticized.
is also charged with
Today, hundreds of students outside of nation's Islam school pay their respects to the slain rapper.
not guilty.
To survive. And still I see no changes. Can a brother get a little peace? It's war on the streets and a war in the Middle East. Instead of war on poverty, they got a war on drugs so the police can bother me. And I ain't never did a crime I ain't have to do. But now I'm back with the facts, giving it back to you. Don't let them jack you up, back you up, crack you up, and pimp smack you up. You gotta learn to hold your own. They get jealous when they see you with your mobile phone. But tell the cops I can't touch this. I don't trust this. When they try to rush, I bust this. That's the sound number 2. You say it ain't cool, but mama didn't raise no fool. And as long as I stay black, I got a stage strap. And I never get to lay back, cause I always got to worry about the payback. Some buck that I roughed up way back, coming back after all these years. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat. That's the way it is.
That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is. Oh yeah.
You're my brother, you're my sister.
That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is. Oh yeah.
It's more than just steel and gears. It pulls you in and doesn't let go.
I want you.
Okay. Hello. This is Frozen, I guess. Well, there we go. Okay. So, yeah, those are just some pictures of Charlie that I took in interviewing him about 8 months ago or something in Arizona at AmFest. I have not been doing any streams or anything, just out of kind of respect and not really having anything to say. Now I think I'm kind of starting to have something to say, although who really knows? It's a very demoralizing time. It's a very scary time. I don't necessarily feel scared so much as sad and, again, demoralized. I think, it was funny, right in the days after, I started getting messages, really cruel, evil messages about my family and stuff from various anonymous accounts or people that I knew from the past. Even one guy was saying, "Oh, you scared now, buddy? You scared now, buddy?" Even though I was actually on stage with Charlie Kirk in front of people not too long ago, or on a panel thingy. I could imagine if I took the time to say to some guy whose collaborator or friend had just been killed, or some guy that they interviewed even, "Hey, you scared now? You scared now?" This is a major Hollywood guy who has a job, So this is how these people, this is how the left, this is where they've gotten to. Yeah, so what do we want to talk about? I mean, this podcast is ostensibly about propaganda, so let's start with that. I got a call from my dad, and my dad lives in Italy, in a city in Italy, and he said that 2 days before Charlie got killed, he was passing through the town square, and everybody in the town square was singing Ciao Bella, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao. And he found it very strange. He was like, why are these people singing Bella Ciao? Because Bella Ciao is a song that has become, over many decades, a symbol of the left, a symbol of the radical left as they see themselves fighting against fascism. And so he found it very curious that a bunch of tourists in a square in southern Italy, in a city that's not really known for, anti-fascism in any way or anything like that, would be singing this song that originally, by the way, Bella Ciao began as a work song sung by weeders in the rice fields. Then there was another version made in World War II as a resistance song against fascism. And then it's become a symbol among the far left in today's world. They say Bella Ciao, they sing Bella Ciao. And then also it became a hit, even more of a hit, in a Netflix show called Money Heist. But even in the Netflix show, the kind of point is that it's this giant battle against the capitalism, global capitalism. It's Robin Hood, right? They're stealing from the global capitalists because they are down and out and all that kind of stuff. So even in that show, Bella Ciao has a very far left meaning. So this is very obviously a far left symbol, the song, Bella Ciao. And weird that my dad was hearing it being sung on the streets by tourists in the days coming up to Charlie's death. And then what do we hear on the gun that the killer used of Charlie Kirk? On the bullet casings was written Bella Ciao, and the lyrics of Bella Ciao, along with several other obviously far left and obviously pro-trans internet slang words. The other ones that were written on the gun were OWO, and talking about a bulge, which is OWO is a way of showing like owl eyes, like big, happy, cute owl eyes in like a positive way. Meaning, ooh, I like seeing the bulge of this tranny, basically, right? That's what he's saying. And then the other thing said, "Hey, fascist, catch." There was one also that says, "Hey, if you're gay, if you're reading this," but the "if you're gay and you're reading this" is trying to say to the police who pick up the gun, "You're gay because you got me." So there is no chance at all in any person with a brain that this is not a leftist situation. This is not a leftist attack. Yet, here the media, the mainstream media in America, I could sense even in the moments after, even in the really short run after the killing occurred, you could tell that their angle was going to be, we don't know what motivated this guy. He was just a crazy internet guy. He was just a crazy, weird internet guy. The New York Times said, God, it's fucking criminal. Literally, it's just fucking criminal. I mean, it's like no First Amendment justification for this. The New York Times, knowing Bella Ciao was on the gun, published an article saying the police found messages after Kirk's killing. What they mean is unclear. And then the subheader is, the messages relied on an enigmatic coded communication style used by the habitually online. And then they try to make it seem like he is a fascist. And they're saying, oh, it's about gaming. And then way below the fold, they bury this thing that, oh yeah, well, it's obviously, obviously, this song is well known as anti-fascist, but they would bury it way below the fold. So none of their sheep actually get around to seeing that, and then they provide lots of excuses. It resurfaced globally in recent years because of its inclusion in the hit series Money Heist and in video games. But the reason it's in those video games and in Money Heist is because it's a leftist symbol. That's why it's in there. So this is a crime. These people who do this should be in jail. I really, really think that. To use the platform of the New York Times to spread a knowing lie, which is that we don't know what these things mean. It's not far left. He's just a crazy kid. He doesn't know what's going on. That's a crime. And look, all you have to do, there's plenty of these shootings and attacks and things that occur that aren't obviously far left. Even the Trump assassin, which I tend to believe is the same group that did this. We don't know that much about his motive. It's because it's been scrubbed. They figured out completely how to get rid of his whole internet footprint. We didn't know anything about this guy. We still don't really. The Vegas shooter, we don't know anything about the Vegas shooter. But this one we do. This one we fucking do know about. And it's far left. And this is a string of far left attacks involving trans people. There was the Zizians, which I did a show about. There was several school shootings with crazy manifestos from trannies. And what we're seeing, look, you can see this if you go outside. You can see this when you look at your barista, or when you look at, the other day I was at lunch in Atwater Village, and there was a group that I could just tell they were Antifa types. The way they were dressed, the way they were talking, the women all dressed to be uglier than they are. They wear a lot of these Converse. This guy was wearing Converse. They have all these slight coded little things that tip each other off of that we're part of the same team. We're part of the far left. And if I have to guess what happens in these situations where people get assassinated, in the protests, right? The pro-Palestine protests in the Colombia, all around. These are networks. Park McDougall did a great deep dive into how protest networks are funded. They're funded by NGOs and all kinds of different things. the reason why they all have the same tent and the same tactics and they all say the same shit and do the same things is it's one giant network of protest. This is a very common thing in this country for the left. The left in this country is masters at direct action. They do direct action. This is an Alinsky thing. They've been doing this since the 60s. And these direct actions occur in response to George Floyd, in response to these things that happen that they don't like. It's organized protest. Now, of course, are the people participating in the pro-Palestine protests killers? No. 99.99999% of these people are not. They're just confused youths. Increasingly they seem to all be women. You see less and less guys at these things. I went to one at University of Michigan this time around, and you hear the chants, and there's no masculine tenor in the voice. It's just pure, it sounds just like women chanting. And so these networks are, but still, these women aren't killers. They're not violent. They're just angry women who, whatever, they're being guided by the media, as this media that we can see here. We'll watch the Jimmy Kimmel clip in a second, just pure Satan. But they're not, evil. They're just confused, right? They're confused young people. They're angry. This is what they're doing. And, I think they hate Americans, and like white people. But, so in any case, when these networks, they have communication, this is what the right completely lacks. We don't have any of this. We have no protest network. We have no, initiatives that could possibly ever do a response to this, like the left. Did you see a single protest? There was nothing. There's no response by the right because we don't have it. We just don't have these networks, but they do have these networks. They can activate. And so anyway, when you're in these networks, like any networks, there's degrees of commitment, and you have the normal people, then you have the people who are a little more committed, then the people who are a little more committed, then a little more committed, all the way up to the top where you get to the true believers. And somebody who is transgender, look, I don't think people who are transgender are evil in the sense that they themselves are somehow demonic or even really at fault. They're being encouraged into this by the media, by doctors, by their friends, by commitment to a cause, because commitment to a cause is sexy. It's interesting. And for young men who are totally disenfranchised, they can't get laid in any way. They kind of have two paths. One, go be an incel, crazy Elliot Rodger, or go be a tranny, basically. those are your choices. And the difference in these two paths is that the intelligence agencies and the media and everything in the mainstream completely encourages the extremity of the one and utterly shuts down the other. So if you're in a group plotting the kidnap of Gretchen Whitmer, for example, which happened, the likelihood is that the intelligence agencies have placed several people in that group, and you're going to jail. As soon as you make an overt action that you're going to go kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, you're going to jail. And that's exactly what happened. And it turned out of the group that was going to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, like 3 of them were feds. So there was like more feds than actual people in the group. If you're a jihadist, probably the same, right? If you are a jihadist, you can bet that there's somebody on behalf of the intelligence communities up in your shit, waiting for you to say that you're going to take some terrorist action. If you are a far left person, you can go to work and say, I'm glad that Charlie Kirk got killed. You can go to work and say, let's kill Trump. Let's kill racists. You can go to a mainstream job at a mainstream organization, and you can say that. You can just say that, and with no consequences. There's nobody in your world stopping you, because all the intelligence resources and all the law enforcement resources has gone to cracking down on the other side. And obviously the media. The media has no responsibility for lying, fanning these flames on the left. So of course, what has happened to the left? It's gone crazy extreme, where people are on hormones. They're becoming orcs. You know, they're taking the substrate of techno-globalism, which is like pills, and they're changing their bodies in adherence to this power, in adherence to this global group. And they just get further and further and further left. You know, another guy I always think about is this Jewish rich kid who was caught in one of the buildings during the Columbia protests. You know, he lives in like a $4 million place in Brooklyn, married to a supermodel. He had a kid with a supermodel. And he's protesting with a mask on Gaza. And he's Jewish. He's half Jewish. And this is what this guy does. This is his life. His life is in accordance with the global people, the global worker, or whatever whatever these people tell themselves. When really they are the fucking power. This is the power. You know, the American left is the power. There was a thing. This might be fake news, but there was a thing on the same day that a few people were getting fired for posting about Charlie Kirk and saying, "Hey, I'm glad he's dead." There was a thing where a guy in NASCAR, his father was revealed to have said the N-word 30 years ago, and the guy got fired from NASCAR. So that should show you the power differential between the right and left. The left can come out and say, "Yay, I am gonna kill Trump." Nothing happens. You know, yay, I am pro-trans, children. Transing your children. They can say that, and they face absolutely zero consequences. Whereas a guy's father says the N-word, he's out. So in any case, that should just show the power differential here. But anyway, to return to the thing, when you have something that is so untamed and so intense, by the way, as the modern left, let me just say, I think what's causing all of this on both sides, and somebody else gave me this idea, but I can't remember who, is economics. I think that the reason people are becoming extreme on both sides, but particularly the left, Luigi, whatever happened with the Blackstone thing, which still seems fishy to me. The reason people are getting like that is because they have no financial hope. And that was something Charlie Kirk, by the way, in one of his last interviews on Tucker, he was talking about financial stuff the whole time from the right. He was saying, hey, the right needs to stop bullshitting around with libertarianism. We need to be serious about mortgage, the inability of a young person to get a mortgage. I think it's like under 30 homeowners has gone from 50% to 10 in a few years. So he was very worried about this from the right perspective, as Trump obviously was. The American dream is totally dead. There is no way for most people to get a house. You can't get a house. You can't do anything. Your financial power is a quarter of what it was even 30 years ago. So there's many things to blame for this. I blame the same scourge that makes the media say these things and that has, completely changed the workplace. But in any case, that's why this left-wing world is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, because more and more people feel sorry, my other camera just died. More and more people feel completely disenfranchised, right? They feel completely disenfranchised, completely unable to compete on any real level. So people are just getting further and further into desperation. And when they get further and further into desperation, they're much more likely to say, hey, let me think about what it might look like to do something, right? And I'm also, by the way, I'm on all these weird pills and shit. And they're being egged on. They're being egged on by the people around them. They're being, because it's totally out of control. And, you're seeing this more and more. The Zizians were a network of these people who were all trans, and they killed like 4 people. They killed a landlord for no good reason. It's very Manson-esque. I mean, we're experiencing the 70s, where this leftism is going out of control again. And we have Manson family-esque things that are kind of happening. And who is going to stop this? Who is going to save us from this? And the funny thing is, Charlie Kirk was one of the people who could. One of my favorite tweets about this was somebody said, "Okay, go ask a leftist who's to the center of Charlie Kirk. You're calling Charlie Kirk the nicest guy. He's a debater. He's like a Ben Shapiro, and you're gonna kill him. So you're gonna kill him. So who's to the center of him? I can't think of anybody. Like, who would be, if you asked me, who's a moderate Republican? I'd say Charlie Kirk. That is immediately who I would say. I mean, I knew the guy. I didn't know him well, but I was completely a zombie. I'm just seeing it in my head. It's devastating. It's absolutely devastating, and deranged. And kind of what I began by saying in the beginning was, it was interesting that people waited until this happened to then send me the leftists to send me deranged, evil text messages, DMs, because it's when you're demoralized, that's where you feel other people feel like they can kick you because you're down, and we are fucking down. This was a fucking haymaker to the face. Not expected. Huge loss. Huge, total fucking blow out of nowhere that we just did not see coming. And devastating. So, we'll talk a little bit about like what you can possibly do about this. But anyway, so these networks, they exist, and then people get further and further deeper. It's like a party where there's a party, and there's a party within the party, and the party within the party, and then there's the party that's like, doing the real drug till 7 a.m. in the deepest layer of the house. The deepest layer of the house are these violent trans people. And again, I don't even barely blame them. I blame the people that are egging them on. And I blame the people that are giving them the drugs. And I blame a media and a system that has no ability to say to these people, no way, you can't be doing this. And a system that gives them no opportunity, that gives them a system that doesn't give them an opportunity to have a girlfriend to begin with. Another thing I think is interesting is this killer had a boyfriend who was trans, and he was supposedly a chaser, a tranny chaser, which is like a term that they use for a straight or not straight, whatever, gay guy, whatever the fuck, who likes trans people, right? So this guy supposedly likes trans people. He's with a trans guy, girl, whatever, and he still feels like he's going to do this, which is like, okay, well then clearly this being if we're talking about an incel like Elliot Rodger who goes on a shooting rampage, or this guy in Utah who killed these girls because he was an incel. You got to imagine those people, if they get a girlfriend, they're not going to kill anybody, right? Because then they're like, oh, okay, well, I got what I wanted. This guy had what he wanted, and he still did this, which shows that this whole network, these protest networks that are, in some ways, they're very American. This is like what happens in America. We do this, a political assembly. This is what the right to assembly literally means in the Constitution. Is assembling forces to make a political point. That's what that means. So it's very American to do this, but this one side of it, because of total lack of intervention, economic factors, biological factors, has basically become the orc army. They've basically become this out of control force of sadness and rage and violence that simply has to be monitored. It has to be prosecuted at some level. The media has to stop encouraging it at some level, or else this thing's just going to get worse and worse and worse, and more people are going to get killed, which pretty much seems like is what's going to happen. Well, regardless of what we do, I'm just saying, like, man, the people who have their blood on their hands are the people like Jimmy Kimmel, who says stuff like this. Here, let's watch this horrifying Jimmy Kimmel thing here.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
Man, fucking crime. Jail. He really, really belongs in jail. You can see how clunky that beginning is, right? It's like the beginning of that speech is so clunky. It's obviously pasted together by whoever his masters are that tell him to lie to the American people. He's saying, desperately try to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? It's a fucking right-wing political leader who the left hated. And in recent years, there was witches were placing curses on Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was elevated as the right-hand man of Trump, which is why he became the target of the far left, right? So this guy's saying, oh, what do you mean? He's not other than one of them. What are you fucking talking about? Think about how sneaky that is. He's saying, oh, other than one of them. Don't think about that. Just, don't think about it. It's one of them, of course. It's one of them. Of course it's one of them. Even though they killed one of them. Does this make any sense? I mean, this is so bad that it's such bad propaganda that, they're just hemorrhaging people. I mean, there's no way people can watch this and anybody above very middling IQ and be like, what the hell? I mean, it's fucking criminal. But people like this is why this is happening. I mean, this left wing, you can feel it on the streets, man. Like, you can feel that there is this new group, that we've arrived at this new area. You go to bars now, the bartenders, they don't just have earrings. They have like a specific type of earring and a specific type of tattoo. And they use these little codes. One of the codes they use is for Free Palestine. They do watermelons. So, like, I remember it was actually funny. I was having dinner with a Jewish girl somewhere, and the waitress had watermelon everything, watermelon tattoos, and of course she's some fat, disgusting, with the septum piercing. Yeah, the septum piercing. It's this ugliness. It's it's orcification and it's ugliness, and they're embracing it, and they're embracing it. Why are they embracing it? They're embracing it because they're fucking don't have any hope. And combined with not having any hope and being whipped into a frenzy by a evil media and an evil corporatocracy, that's funny because that's actually the ones who's looting them, which is, that leads to this orcification of these people where they are truly becoming enemies of the state. And this has happened before. This was the 70s. This whole shit already happened. In the 70s, it was the Weather Underground. There was 3,000 domestic leftist bombings in the United States of America between 1970 and 80. Yeah, that's a real number. Go read Days of Rage. It's the best party trick ever. If you ever have leftists over your house, pull out Days of Rage and show them in the first couple chapters where it says there were 3,000 domestic leftist bombings in the United States between 70 and 80. That's how powerful the left is. That's how powerful this thing is. And what can the right do in response? Jack fucking shit. What are we going to do? Protest? No. We couldn't if we wanted to. It's not, people say, look, the right didn't protest. As if we are sitting around waiting to fucking protest, and if we're just not doing it because it's out of the goodness of our heart that we're not protesting. Yeah, no, we're not protesting because we can't. And we don't know how. We don't know how to do these collective things. And any level of organized right-wing guerrilla shit at all has been fucking blown up. I mean, that's what Ruby Ridge was. That's what Waco was. Any amount of that is dead because the feds have completely cracked down on it in every way. And again, I'm not saying that it's only bad in the sense that there's no counterbalance. It's only bad in the sense that the counterbalancing weights are important. Whereas, yeah, I mean, Trump, this was an inch away from happening to Trump. And my belief is that it's the exact same pattern, right? Young, weird, ugly looking, skinny white guy with kind of conservative-y parents in some provincial place, gets involved in the internet, can't really get any girls, has no way to get ahead or forward in any way, has access to guns, roughly knows how to use guns, there's been weird rumors about people with strange license plates appearing at both of their houses. They've got weird shit on their phones. To me, this is both are very obviously patsies of intelligence networks. And these intelligence networks have a massive plausible deniability because they just get on these Discord servers. They can send in anybody. They can send in a girl. They can send in a tranny to influence these people, and they just push them. They just push until somebody fucking does something like this, right? And if you read, there's the best book ever written about how this actually works is called American Tabloid. And American Tabloid is by James Elroy, and it describes basically this exact system and how it works. It was about the Kennedy assassination, how this would have gone with the Kennedy assassination, and it's the exact same thing as how it goes now. The intelligence, from the little, I do have a little bit of experience with it, but it's all about assets. Assets are people who you can get information from, you can get to do actions. It's all about turning assets. It's not about doing shit yourself. It's not like there's a CIA assassin, out there killing people. It's about having a relationship with an asset and getting that asset to do what you want. That's what intelligence is about. And so this, to me, seems very intelligent. Now, do I mean that the CIA is behind this? Absolutely not. Or the FBI? No. Fucking no way. What I mean is that either there's some far left splinter group of the actual intelligence agencies, which wouldn't surprise me, but we're talking about one or two people, right? I mean, very small. Or it's not even that. It's people who learned intelligence in the agencies and then went to work for Soros. So, they went to work for one of these giant NGO foundations that fund this to the tunes of billions and billions and billions of dollars. They just went to work for these people. They probably believe in it also, right? And it's just intelligence. It's just the private version, or actually the NGO funded version. And it's, we're talking about the people who would know these schemes. It's not as crazy as you think. It's not like as conspiratorial as you think. We're talking about like 4 people total. You're talking about a person who has access to funds and this is their job. You're talking about maybe 1 or 2 other people that have the ability to pose as somebody or encourage people on social media or otherwise. Maybe a little bit of training somehow, or you're just picking people who are already sort of self-trained, and then you're just pushing and pushing and pushing until somebody does it. And I just think this is how it works. This is how it's gone from the beginning of time. I mean, think about how angry we all are right now. And imagine somebody came to us and said, hey, let's do something about this. Of course, people like me and probably almost everybody listening to this are smart enough to go like, yeah, fuck no, thanks a lot, Fed. But not everybody is. Especially young guys who are trying to get laid and they're fucking miserable and they're on all kinds of weird drugs. They're much more susceptible. That's why the history is full of assassins like this. And I think that that's what's happening here. And I would bet, my sense is that they're so similar. Rooftop, sniper, dad's rifle, all this shit. The MOs are too similar. for the Trump assassination and this assassination to not be the same people. I bet it's the exact same people. And this was in retaliation. Also, Kirk is a target. It corresponded with Kirk being targeted by the media more and more because they couldn't get to Trump, right? So they could get to Kirk, both physically and metaphorically in the media. They thought, they were like, all right, we failed on Trump. Now we're going to get somebody else. Consolation prize, right? So they fucking killed a father who was just a debater. He's just a fucking debater, man. He's just a guy, he's just a fucking guy who goes up on stage and shares his opinions. I mean, yeah, he organizes he's the most American possible fucking thing. He just organizes voters. He has ideas, and you got to kill him, father. It's like, because you couldn't get Trump. It's just like, man, these fucking people, dude. And it's probably, you know, it's probably a network of 4 people, you know? It's probably a network of 4 fucking people who pull this shit off. And how do you get to them? I mean, the layers of obfuscation, it's borderline impossible. I mean, unless you somehow you get lucky, you know, in some way, it's pretty much, I mean, because there's just so many layers of the internet provides endless layers of plausible deniability. And I mean, what happened with the JFK assassination? Even before the internet, they got away with it, right? Nobody really knew what happened there. So history is full of examples of people getting away with this via patsy, via one guy that you can get to do your bidding. So I'll talk a little bit about what I think we can do now. I mean, let's talk about a couple other like issues here, though, that everybody is bringing up, which is the Israel issue. Okay, so the story here is that Israel, in recent days or months or whatever, had been putting a ton of pressure on Charlie because Charlie was signaling that, like Tucker and like Candace Owens or some of these other people, he was going to shift. He was going to shift sides and go against Israel and start criticizing Israel. And of course, that's very bad for Israel because Charlie, up until now, has been a total, absolute blind defender of Israel. And that's terrible for them. Apparently, Netanyahu offered Charlie a huge amount of money that he turned down. Charlie had an interview on somebody's podcast, who I can't remember right now, just before this, where he was saying, I'm really tired of getting text messages from pro-Israel people being like, you're not on our side anymore. And like huge amounts of texts, and I don't think any actual threats, but so anyway, that was going on in the background. And now look, normally, if it was any other country, nobody would think twice about this. And everybody would be like, all right, well, so what? He was kind of starting to criticize the country. They're not going to fucking kill him. But because Israel is Israel, and because fucking Epstein happened, which all of you motherfuckers are trying to say don't talk about. Yeah, good luck with that. People are paranoid as fuck about Israel. They're paranoid as living fuck. When you kill, people think there's no consequences. When you kill Jeffrey Epstein, which you did, or something, whatever that was, and nobody knows what happened, you think everyone's just going to forget about it? It doesn't work that way. If you're pissed that everybody's going after saying ridiculously and totally wrongly, don't get me wrong, that Israel had something to do with this, yeah, well, you just fucking killed a public figure and cut out the cameras outside of his fucking cell and expected everybody to just forget about it. What did you fucking think was going to happen? So, you know, you can't blame Americans for being paranoid as living fuck about Israel and Israel involvement. You absolutely can't blame them. And look, this is just the mind of the fucking normie, man. You're gonna, once the normie gets in their head that they're being manipulated, that doesn't go away. This is why anti-Semitism is a disease, which I think it is a disease. I'm agreeing. It's a disease that lasts like 3 to 5 years. This is what I say. And I know because I had it. And I was convinced in that phase of my life that, Israel was behind every single fucking thing on earth, and Jews were just total and complete power, and nobody could possibly ever do anything without immediately being, gotten out of it by Israel and the Jews. I was wrong about that. I started getting more involved with different types of Jews and really accepting the fact that I'm fucking Jewish and not, hating it so much. And I realized, oh, okay, like this is not what people think. This is not what people think at all. Now, does Israel act badly and do bad shit? Yeah, all the fucking time. But it's not behind every world affair. And not even close. I mean, it's not even fucking close. It's just one. Israel's a very powerful nation. Jews are a very powerful people. That's it. That's all that it is. There's no greater thing than that. And once you accept that and you say, okay, well, they have their certain tactics that they use to get power like anybody else, that's great. But one of those tactics tends to be manipulation. So when people start to see that and things start to come out and they start to kind of see, they get in their mind this gene of an idea, oh, maybe the Jews are doing this. Then they see it fucking everywhere. And it's a fucking disaster, which is exactly where we're at now. And of course, I've been warning about this for a fucking straight decade and nobody listens. But, my favorite quote about this is, you can fool some of the people some of the time, or all the time. Sorry. You can fool, I think Abraham Lincoln said, you can fool some of the people all the time and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. And that is just true of the normie mind. It's, yeah, sure, some people you can just program, but there's always going to be some group that starts to question. And if you have been manipulating up until now, even if it's innocent and for good reason and blah, 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 then they're going to start thinking about the seed of the germ is going to get in their head. And not only are you going to stop being able to fool them, they're going to then start to interpret every single event that happens through the lens of what is happening now, which is there's no fucking evidence that this is Israel. Yeah, sure. There's articles that Israel was putting pressure on Charlie in the recent days to be pro-Israel. That is definitely just as circumstantial, if not far, far less so than the Trump similarities, right? And the guy is obviously a far leftist. Kirk is obviously the number one enemy of this leftist network that infects the entire media. Go look at recent articles about Charlie Kirk in places like Jezebel and stuff. He was being set up, teed up as the number one enemy of the left. So then we're thinking, oh, Israel just stepped in real quick and did this, pulled off a quick one because he seemed like maybe he was signaling to go against it, blah, blah, blah. No fucking way. There's no, even Fuentes, who I actually think is kind of coming around. As I said, anti-Semitism is a disease that lasts 3 to 5 years. I think he's nearing the end of his 5 years. So, even he is saying this is ridiculous. It's like, okay, fine. Look, is it possible? Of course it's possible. But based on the information that we have, it's just not. I mean, like, it is so circumstantial and so extreme. I really can't believe that just normal people actually believe this. It's so much more obvious that this is a leftist killing. It is a it is obviously that this guy was radicalized and turned as a patsy for the far left. The same people that are shutting down everything. So that's what my opinion on that. And look, I'm not, of course, yes, I am a Jew, so you have to say I am shilling for Israel, which, whatever. You can say that all you want. Not true, but whatever. I really want to start a America, Jews for America, super PAC or, a nonprofit, because I feel like voices like mine, there's a lot of us. I'm friends with a million zillion Jews all around. And almost all of them agree with everything I'm saying here and agree that we love America first. I mean, I love America first. And I think there's a role for us here, man. And I think that, the state, look, the people of Israel, it's different because that's like my people. But when we're talking about the state of Israel, Hasidic people don't like the state of Israel. It's, Charlie, one of the last things he said is, I'm less able to criticize Israel than an Israeli. And that is fucking ridiculous. You think this is America, man. You're not going to criminalize, you're not going to get people to not be able to criticize a foreign country for very long, unless you want to destroy the entire system. So I think it's about, look, normalizing Jews who get this, who aren't blind, who understand the ambiguity of being a Jewish person, because that's actually the truth. Right? The actual truth is not that we're all shilling for Israel. The actual truth is that many of us are confused. Many of us don't know where our loyalties lie, but we have the possibility to be a good person. And we have the possibility of being a patriot. That's fucking possible. I know because I am one. And I'm not getting secret message. I mean, at least not to my knowledge. I'm not getting secret messages from, fucking Netanyahu. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, this is something you can just fucking talk about forever. But I'm pretty certain that Israel had nothing to do with this. Okay. Second, and then there's the DMs. So there's these DMs that came out between the girlfriend, boyfriend, the tranny, and the killer. They seem very contrived to me. I should actually read them to you in some way. Let me see if I can get them. They appear very contrived when you actually read them. I'm like not that sure about it. So here, let's read some. Let me just read one pages of this so people who are not addicted to the internet can follow along. So Robinson's the killer. He's supposedly messaging the trans boyfriend who is back at home in some other part of Utah 4 hours away. So he says, I'm still okay, my love, but stuck in Orem, that's where the murder occurred, for a while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I come home. I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. Roommate / trans boyfriend. You weren't the one who did it, right? Says roommate. Yeah, I am. I'm sorry, says Robinson. I thought they caught the person, says roommate. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop points shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there is one vehicle lingering. Why? Said the roommate. Why did I do it? Roommate. Yeah. I had had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Oh, there's also ... here. So there's been some parts that are redacted that we don't see. But so it's ... How long have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. I can't get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Robinson, later. Well, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring Grandpa's rifle. I don't know. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about Prince. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find Prince. How the fuck do I explain losing it to my old man? The only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. So first of all, the bullet said OWO, not UWU, which is another one. Another similar thing, but OWO would make more sense there. So that's a weird thing. Overall, I don't know if this is fake. It feels fake to me. because it feels like they're sort of rigidly and cardboardly trying to explain something that I called out. So my whole theory, by the way, in case anybody saw it, I forwarded this theory of, a splinter cell of like some kind of NGO intelligence network just gone awry. Same thing as the Trump thing. I thought it was going to be a different trans person that 4chan identified, but instead it was this tranny chaser and guy. So I was pretty much right about everything. And the one thing that I was definitely right about was that there was something strange about the gun, because the killer brought the gun off the roof, but then left the gun somewhere in the forest. So that to me suggested that they were dropping it off for someone to pick up. There was also something that came out that said that they were communicating with somebody about dropping off the gun, but that also could be this. So my sense, again, is that they were encouraged to do this by somebody who knew what they were doing. And I think that at some level, somewhere, they instructed them on how to do this. Because it's a pretty hard thing to plan. It's also very difficult. The way that he jumps off the roof perfectly as the crowd is coming towards him, and he stays just in front of them. And where he jumps off the roof is the perfect place to jump off the roof based on where the crowd would be coming from. So he actually executes it very, very well. And so can this guy do this all by himself? Seems really, really tough to do that. But on the other hand, maybe he stashed the rifle somewhere, had to go get his car. He didn't want to put the rifle back in his pants, which actually makes a lot of sense. So he had a towel, and he didn't want to put it, because he walked there with it in his back leg, because he was like limping. So he like limped because the rifle was in his back leg. And then that's how he did it. And he got up on that roof where he amazingly had just a perfect vantage point. But maybe he felt like, oh, I need to go stash the rifle somewhere and then come back and get it with the car, because I don't want somebody to see me running with it, which is that actually makes a lot of fucking sense. So, who knows? I don't know that this is fake. It seems fake to me. It seems fake in the sense that the way they're talking seems wooden. And it seems also like they're trying to absolve the roommate. Like, there's no fucking way if this guy's engraving bullets. Also, the way he says engraving bullets, is that really, would he say engraving that way? The language feels off. But to me, what I would say is probably happening here is this is some sort of agreement that the roommate and him made after the fact to absolve the roommate. Like, this is him completely absolving the roommate. And even the engraving bullets thing, that would absolve the roommate because maybe there's some evidence that the roommate saw the bullets or they talked about it. It's like, it feels to me like these two are sort of collaborating to absolve him. And also, maybe beyond just absolving the roommate, absolving the entire network. Absolving the entire network that sponsored him to do, or convinced him to do this. This feels like he's cutting it off. And he's saying, I've been planning this by myself for 1 week. And so it's just sectioning everybody off, right? And it's saying, okay, everybody else is out. It's all on me. But then again, we don't know. We have to also be very honest. As somebody who gets people saying conspiratorial things about me all the time, a lot of times there is no conspiracy. A lot of times it is exactly just what it looks like. And there's no, and we don't know here. This could very much be literally just their text messages. And this could be just some guy who kind of cased the joint and figured out how to do this. In any case, it doesn't really matter, because the bad guy, the person to blame, is the same. Actually, if he was induced to do this by the media and by his ridiculous friends and stuff alone, that's almost even worse than him being induced by some sort of intelligence network. Then the left-wing people who are encouraging this, the Jimmy Kimmels, the doctors, the people who are fostering this are even more to blame. The left is even more to blame. The protest networks are even more to blame. The NGOs that are supporting this, the Soros networks, the left-wing money patronage networks that fund these groups, they're even more to blame if there's no conspiracy. Because then they just squeezed him to do it. You know, they squeezed him mentally in order to do this. And it is criminal. It is fucking criminal. You know? I mean, it's a fucking crime to do that shit. So to induce people to take these sort of actions. And, you know, the most fucked up part of all of it is that the people inducing them to do the crimes are actually the ones in charge of the corporatocracy that has looted and destroyed these people's lives. The same people that made it so that this guy can't get laid and is on weird tranny pills or is, you know, into dating trannies, and it's ultimately very unsatisfying and makes him fucking miserable. The same people in charge of that are the ones he thinks he's fighting against, you know, and this is the perfect, you know, this is the sad part of this entire thing. Okay, let's finish up by like what we can do. So look, I don't fucking know. I have no idea what we can do. As I said, the really sad and pathetic part is there's not an intelligence response in place. If this was a right-wing network, look at what happened with January 6th. If this was a right-wing network, every fucking person within 3 feet of this guy would be in jail right now, being interrogated. Did we do that? No. If this was a right-wing killing, there would be protests. There would be probably retribution violence happening right now. You know, on all levels. There'd be all kinds of shit. If this was Ilhan Omar who was killed, you know, and Ilhan Omar being killed, this is what really makes me realize, like, how these people think. Like if you really think about it, I would never, ever, ever celebrate the death of somebody like Ilhan Omar publicly, even privately. I wouldn't celebrate it. I wouldn't, you know, I would realize that this was a massive tragedy and not good for anybody, and et cetera, and also just morally, like, you don't kill people like that. But would I be like really sad? No, of course not. Like, I think Ilhan Omar is destroying the United States. Like, I would, and that's what these people think. These people, as much as I think Ilhan Omar is destroying the United States, that's what these people think about Charlie Kirk. They're wrong, and they're being told that by a lying fucking media that is intentionally lying to them and turning them into fucking soldiers, right? But in terms of just the feeling that they have, that's the feeling that they have been induced to have towards Charlie Kirk. And as their lives get worse and worse, the corporatocracy gives them more and more of those people to direct their anger at. So with that in mind, like, our response, you know, you can have a mayor in Detroit or in Dearborn, and that just came out today, or you can have Ilhan Omar out there just straight up saying that they're basically sedition. I mean, basically saying white people don't belong in these places. That we're doing this for our people, not Americans. You can have, the left is allowed to say and do whatever the fuck it wants without any sort of retribution. The right can't say, do, or say anything, obviously, without being killed on stage. So what do? You know, when there's that much of a power differential here? What do? We just don't have the muscle. We don't have the networks, right? There's no law enforcement networks. There's no protest networks. There's simply no networks with which to respond besides doing what I'm doing right now, which is blowing hot air into a fucking microphone and complaining, right? So what can the right possibly do? You know, so afterwards, I felt that I was inspired by God. And right after the shooting, I ended up watching this fight, this boxing match between Canelo and this guy Crawford. And it was an amazing boxing match. It was such a cool, it was really, really exciting and really good. And Canelo is much bigger than Crawford and much more powerful. And he's known for these like big punches that he can like nail. But Crawford beat him. Crawford beat him by every time that Canelo went for one of the big punches, Crawford gave him these little tiny jabs, just these little tiny jabs, because he was so much faster. People talk about power in politics all the time. Power, 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 power. It's all about power. How much power do you have? Power, power, power. One thing they almost never talk about is speed. They don't talk about speed as a tactic. And speed is a tactic. And the reason I'll say this is this, I started, this dawned on me a little bit. When you're looking at what are our successes, so we can't do any of these other things that I'm talking about that the left can do. And I think stupidly, the right, often in just being losers, always tries to replicate the tactics of the left, which are needed in some ways. Like, this whole thing here of getting people fired who are celebrating the murder. I'm for it in the sense that, hey, at least it's fucking something. At least it's beginning to put clause and transparency on these networks, right? On the people that are involved in these networks. That's good. And, again, yeah, it is kind of cancel culturally, but it's also like, who fucking cares? Fuck them. I mean, if they're out there actually celebrating it, that's creating a horrible work environment. Get them out of your fucking work environment. Take over your work environment. That's what you should do. I mean, I know what I'm doing, but we'll get to that in a second. So a lot of times the left or the right tries to mimic the power of the left, and they can't do it. They're always lagging behind. They never can really do it. They can't figure it out because that's just not our strength. So what we should all be asking ourselves, if we really want to counterbalance this left-wing thing, and by the way, every normal fucking person in this country should want us to counterbalance the left. They should want us to do it. Because when it's one-sided, it's a fucking nightmare. And when it's a one-sided communist takeover, you think that's going to be fun for anyone? It's not. It is not going to be fun for you at all. It's going to destroy your fucking life. Just like what happens in every other time this happens with communists. So you don't want the communists to be running fucking rampant. This is the United States of America. We don't do that. This is not what we fucking do here. Go take a look at Cuba. Go take a trip to Cuba. Tell me how Cuba's doing these days, and then come back and we'll talk about communist takeover. So anyway, one of the tactics that worked really, really well recently, one of the things we did that actually was, in my view, one of the biggest victories outside of things like Bud Light, which were huge, that's how I'm going to fight this. But anyway, people who aren't like me, people who actually care about the politics, whatever. One of the things that worked was Elon and Doge taking out USAID and also some of the other bureaucratic agencies, right? How were they able to do that? USAID is really powerful. We can imagine if USAID had a year of notice that they were about to get shut down, they would have figured out a way to make it not happen. That's what power does, right? Power knows how to protect itself. There's a piece in the Wall Street Journal, it's great, about how Elon pulled this off. He was all up in their servers and in their emails and shit seconds after inauguration. So what Elon did is he knows a bureaucracy like USAID, it's a bunch of fucking longhouse cat ladies and a bunch of DEI hires, right? It's bloated, it's fat, it's just like any federal thing. It sucks. They're not talented. They're not bringing their best, right? There's probably a small group of talented people, but the overwhelming network is very, very untalented. And it's powerful, but it's slow and shitty and not good. He knew if I move quickly enough, I can destroy them. And he did. It worked. And it was speed. It wasn't power. It was a couple guys willing to stay up all night. People like Big Balls or whatever. And a couple guys willing to stay up all night, and a couple guys willing to charge forward into that shitty, slow bureaucracy and hit them a couple times before they could even fucking know what was happening, right? That's the kind of type of shit we need to do. We need quick hits. What are quick things we can fucking do that you can't take back? It's like jabs. Like, you're jabbing back in this way that it's not super powerful, and maybe it doesn't seem like it's going to do much in the short run. But over time, these little things that they can't do because they're not quick enough, they really add up, So like what is stuff like that we can do? Like, can we set up some sort of system to actually institutionalize complaints against people in the workplace? Can we even, sure, it's not, politics is not a protected class. We all know this, but who fucking cares? So what if politics isn't a protected class? Can't we set up some kind of institution that monitors these things? They hate transparency also. The other side is they really hate being seen. So do you remember that thing that came out recently that was like tracking the USAID money? That was another great thing that somebody made. I think that autistic woman made it. It wasn't entirely accurate, but mapping the funds, can we institutionalize that just so that there's a tool in place or a regulation that employers or NGOs, they must somehow affirm their connections to far left groups or something like that? Is there a program we can set up for employers, whistleblowers in companies where it feels that they're fostering far left extreme violence? Look, I don't know. I need to think more about this, and I will. But what are the quick, actually doable things? I mean, obviously, for me, the biggest thing is RICO charges, actual criminal prosecutions of the money. And you can subpoena any of these fucking things. I used to work for the DA. You can subpoena fucking anything. If you are a prosecutor, and an investigator, you can subpoena fucking anything. There's gotta be some breadcrumbs from these guys or other guys like them to the NGOs, to doctors, to people giving them these trans pills, to Discord, whoever it fucking is. Asking for documents, just fucking make them give you everything. And there's going to be something in there. There's going to be shit in there that you leak or that you file charges on. Speed is what we need. And speed and like small symbolic actions that can, charges filed, subpoenas sent, people interrogated, like those are the type of things. It just, the media complex has to feel the jab. It has to feel it. Right now, it hasn't felt shit. I mean, like, no offense, but nothing is happening. And I'm not fucking doing anything either. I'll tell you the one thing that I can do. The one thing that you can do, friend at home, is probably not anything political. And I'll tell you what's definitely not going to help is you sitting around saying, oh, they done fucked up now. They done fucked up now. It's not going to do anything. They didn't done fucked up. At least we haven't seen anything yet. I mean, I'm hoping for it, but none of it, 99.9 of us are impotent to do anything at all. At least in the political or law enforcement sphere. We're not going to go protest. Obviously, that would have fucking happened if we were going to do it. We're not doing that. And I don't even think we should do that. It's very non-right wing. Protesting is fucking gay. That's something they do. They do the fucking protesting. We don't do protesting. So fuck protesting. What you can do, money. Not giving it away to anybody. Look, what was the one response that had teeth already? Getting people fired, right? In my world, what was some of the biggest victories we've had? Bud Light, Cracker Barrel, right? What is my agency? My agency is a successful agency. We hire dudes from the internet, generally right-wing, who are creative and who say whatever they want and who absolutely do not believe in fucking leftist fucking killing. We create an environment. It is a network. A business is a network. How do you think there's so many layers of protests and actions and direct action and blah, blah, blah. It's because these people are in the same places at the same time. They're making money together. They're funded together. There is an economy for this. There is an economy for being based, for loving America, for loving the principles of free enterprise. Now, are they going to use civil rights litigation against us at some point? You know, once they're back in power, litigation? Yes, of course they're going to fucking do that. But who fucking cares? You still can fight. You can fight by getting a fucking base job, spending money on base products, doing business with base people, creating based businesses, making jokes about shitty woke ads, making based ads. Commerce is the one weird little fucking section of all this that they can't control. They can't get us in commerce. You go to fucking January 6th, they're going to get you. You go to Reindustrialize, which I just fucking went to in Detroit, based as fuck. America first, America return manufacturing. This is our country. We fucking care about free enterprise. We care about free speech. We care about America. No one's arresting you at fucking Reindustrialize, and you're making tons of money. So that you can't, by getting involved in the right-wing economy, you can actually do a lot. And ultimately, this leads me to my final point, which is, what's the solution here? Am I advocating for unity? Fuck no. Am I advocating, we just need to come together? You know, the reason why I called this a crime against normality is, Tupac I played in the beginning. Charlie's our Tupac, kind of. But these were the era in the 90s where we thought we were going to come together, right? And we did in many ways. You know, Michael Jordan brought us together. We were together. We were a country. We the right and the left, we lived together. We did well. We did pretty fucking well, in that era. That era is over. It's gone. These communists we're dealing with now are real fucking communists. They're like the communists in the 70s. And I'm not saying this means that America is over. Obviously, the 70s ended and the 80s happened. So it did work. It worked. It happened. I mean, you can defeat them. And then we get the 90s, which was, pretty great. But this era now, the Ilhan Omars, this shooter, these trans people who spend night and day thinking about wanting to kill you and who send me weird messages, there's no country with them. There's no sharing. We're not going to bridge the divide. Ilhan Omar wants to destroy the United States for the benefit of Somalian people. She doesn't fucking care about, you think she cares about the United States? She probably dreams day in and day out. It's like they have this big secret. This is what, we're gonna signal, people like Gretchen Whitmer and Comey, they signal, like they draw in the sand 86-45 or 86-47. That means kill Trump. Wink, wink, kill Trump, right? Mamdani coming to New York. Absolute Rubicon crosser. As soon as he gets in power, they believe they are on a mission, not from God, but not from God. I believe they're on a mission from white people hatred or whatever, the anti-white God, to destroy this country. That's what they want. That's what they dream of. They dream of it because they feel oppressed. They feel oppressed by the United States, which maybe they fucking are, by the way. I mean, somebody like Mamdani, who's on a global scale, the global American empire, it does reach its fingers into the world of Mamdani. But the hilarious thing is, the fingers it reaches are fucking gay, trans, rainbow flag corporatocracy. It's leftism. Mamdani thinks he's fighting capitalism. He is fucking capitalism. He is global capitalism. At least that he thinks he's fighting the thing that has occupied his brain. That's, many history is filled with ironies like this. But the global American empire is not the Kulak capitalist, free enterprise, reindustrialized, let's build shit in America crowd. The global American empire is really not American at all. It's just about centralized global control. And the people in charge of it don't care about America either. They care about this dream of, a future, green future where everybody's gay and everybody's living in their little pod and eating fucking bugs and jerking off to porn 17,000 times a day. And, we impregnate just the right number of people via, it's a technocratic, global, uniparty taking over the world system. That's what they, even if they don't know they want that, that's what their values lead them to, right? And so that's what we're up against here, and it's not going to get fixed. There's no understanding to be had. There is, and this is something I've known forever. I mean, I used to, in the 2016's Trump's era, I used to fucking hand wring and argue with family members, and I'm going to bring them to my side, and that shit. And then COVID hit, and I saw how they acted, and I saw, they are truly sheep. They are not, or if they're not sheep, they're just, there's no bridging the gap. There's no bridging the gap between an American in terms of what the principles of America are and a person who wears a mask and puts a mask on their children because the TV tells them to. That's just not, that's authoritarian. I mean, that's global authoritarianism. And there is no ever going to be any conversation between me and them. And that's what I realized. And I was like, okay, well, I don't, I lost 80% of my friends and family through that and through Trump and jobs. But it was just at a certain point, I was like, there's no middle ground to be had here. I still have far lefty friends that I actually have more in common with. Because we can at least agree on the problem, which is a lack of any ownership over the society, right? We see different solutions, but at least we can kind of get the problem. But, anyway, so what does that lead us to? Just abandon all hope of ever convincing any of them. It will never happen. So what do? You can... what is I already said what we could do financially, but what is the overall sort of strategy? For a long time, there has been this notion of exit and return on the right. So exit means we build our own shit, and return means we return to an earlier version of the country, right? So MAGA is obviously Make America Great Again, is this idea that America once was one way, and if we work hard enough, we can get it back to that. So we can conserve and go back and run back the clock. It's not going to happen. The return is over. There's no fucking return. There's no point in posting pictures of the 50s. It's fucking done. We're exiting. We can only exit. The only thing we can do, build walls, build an America within an America. We need to build the real America inside global commie America with actual Americans, people who remember, we remember the values. We remember how well it worked for a little while. We saw it work. We saw decentralization, free enterprise, free speech, guns. We saw it fucking work. It works. It's not even democracy. Don't talk to me about fucking democracy. Democracy's been around forever. That's not what America was. America was a system where you could compete with your religion, you could compete with your ideas, you could compete with what you could build, you could compete to build your own little fiefdom. Your house is your fiefdom here in America. That is what fucking America is. It's the power of decentralization. That is what America is. And that's why tolerance is a part of it, because in order to be truly decentralized, you have to have tolerance. There are people who understand this still. I do. Others do. This is why, getting obsessed with the Jew thing, it's stupid. We can build an America within America. We can. We can build walls. We can section each other off. We can kick the fucking communists out of our lives. We can kick them out of our businesses. We can kick them, their ideas, out of our schools where we can. We can create institutions that are separate from them. And they're going to be, again, they're going to be faster. They're going to be so much better because they're bogged down. America beat global communism because it was better than global communism. We can do that within this country. If we build our own shit, we can beat them because our shit is going to be so much better than their shit. And if you are a man and you are out there and you are using your expressive powers, you're using your tech powers, you're using whatever the fuck powers you have, if you're out there giving those powers to them, to the people that want to fucking kill you, you're an idiot. You should stop fucking doing it. You should start your own thing, quit the fucking job, come work for a place like Will. You know, I've hired probably fucking 60 guys from the internet, and girls from the internet at different times. Most of them don't work out, but I've at least fucking tried. And there's plenty out there, man. There's plenty out there. You could, even if you don't want to do that, build your own shit on Substack. Make your own fucking videos. Start your own business and weave in the values of actual America. They were most embarrassed by Bud Light and Cracker Barrel. That's where they lost the most. That's because it's attacking their funding. If you attack their fucking funding, they can't do shit. And it's exposing their incompetence. If we build our own shit, the incompetence will be obvious. It's just the same reason global communism at least lost until now. As Yarvin would, of course, say, it won. But I don't believe that. But, it lost. Americanism won. Unfortunately, Americanism got fucking, what they did do very effectively is fucking eat us from within, which is what we're dealing with now. But that's why guys like us, we got to say, okay, sorry, Susie boy. We're going to do our own thing. And you know what? We fucking say what we want. We do what we fucking want. And we make money doing it. That's fucking it. And you can't, this is America. You're going to tell me I can't make money? No, that's the one thing they can't fucking do. All right, anyway. That's how I'm feeling about this. That's all I got for now. I was going to play another Tupac song and show more pictures of Charlie, which, you know what? Maybe I will fucking do that because why the fuck not? This is one of my favorite Tupac songs. And I will share it. And we will say goodbye.
How many brothers fell victim to the street? Rest in peace.
It's more than just steel and gears. It pulls you in and doesn't let go.